In Lebanon, at least 20 attacks by the Israeli regimes were registered against southern suburbs of Beirut. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro held a meeting with the ambassador of Lebanon to the country, Elias Lebos, to ratify his support in the face of the latest attacks orchestrated by the Israeli army. In Haiti, in the department of Artibonite, at least 20 people, including children, were executed by the violent criminal groups. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Ana Marrero from the teleSUR headquarters in Caracas, Venezuela. We'll be with the news. Stay with us. And we start with Lebanon, where at least 20 attacks by the Israeli regimes were registered against southern suburbs of Beirut. Officials said the Israeli attacks left at least 37 people dead and more than 150 wounded in the past 24 hours. According to Lebanese Transport Ministry sources, the recent Tel Aviv attacks targets the vicinity of Beirut International Airport on the side of Light Lake neighborhood, in addition to several buildings that were completely destroyed. Local media claims that these new attacks are the most violent since the assassination of Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah. In the same context, Israel issued a warning against the Lebanese resistance movements, claiming that they are determined to destroy its entire infrastructure. Also in Lebanon, the town of Bur al-Yahudiya mourns soldiers killed by Israeli fire in the country's south during an evacuation and rescue operations with the Lebanese Red Cross in Tibet village.
Today, we lost a dear and beloved brother, First Sergeant Mar Alawiq, may he rest in heaven. The Burj al-Yahudiya has proudly offered a martyr from the Nar al-Bared camp due to the Israeli aggression, the terrorist aggression.
Mar was on a national mission with his colleagues, in coordination with the Red Cross, to evacuate the injured when the brutal enemy opened fire on them. And he fell as a martyr. Thank God for everything. Our condolences to Burj al-Yahudiya and all of Lebanon. May God protect the Lebanese army.
Israel raises shelters in Palestine and enters residential areas in Gaza with the usual excuse, hunting Hamas and Hezbollah militant men. According to the latest report issued by the Lebanese Health Ministry, Zionist troops killed 37 civilians and wounded more than 151 in the Lebanese capital in an attempt to assassinate Hashem Saifeddin, who could be Hassan Nasrallah replacements as Hezbollah leaders. To the east, Israeli soldiers killed 18 Palestinian civilians after bombing a cafeteria in the Tulkram refugee camp in the West Bank, with the U.S. supplies missiles injuring at least 20 people. The United Nations organizations report on Thursday that East Africa is home to more than 1/5 of those in need of humanitarian aid, with about 67 million people. According to the report by the Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, the region is at the scene of one of the largest humanitarian crises in the world. In this regard, the UN warned of the impact of climate change, conflicts, political instabilities, economic shock, and disease outbreaks that are putting the inhabitants of East Africa at risk. While the UN maintains its assistance, it warns of limits funding for this crisis, which restricts the ability to scale up operation as demand increases. The World Health Organization launched a global strategic plan to tackle dengue and another viruses transmitted by the Aedes mosquitoes, such as Zika and chikungunya. The plan aims to improve international coordination to reduce the burden of disease suffering and death from the insect-borne or the viral diseases. The plan outlines priority measures to control the transmission and propose recommendations to affected countries in various sectors such as diseases, surveillance, laboratory activities, clinical management, research and development based on the regional approach. For their part, experts estimate that some 4 billion people worldwide are at risk of arboreosis infection, a figure that they expect to rise to 5 billion by 2050, and the disease is currently endemic in more than 130 countries. In Austria, between 15,000 and 17,000 people demonstrated in Vienna against the possible return to power of the far right after Sunday's national elections.
The FPO, Freedom Party of Austria, is a danger because it has already said it wants to govern in the image of Orban in Hungary. What does that mean? No freedom of the press, no budget for culture, other members of the opposition. So any progressive idea or any progressive party is simply having its rights curtailed there, and we simply see that there is definitely no place for that in Austria, and that's why we want to send a signal against it.
The whole of Europe should once again keep an eye on Austria and support the 70% who did not vote. They believe they are the first, they are the election winners in the numbers, in the percentages, but 70% did not vote for them.
In the United States, the workers have celebrated a 3-day strike after reaching a tentative agreement with port operators on pay. The strike impacted 36 ports from Maine to Texas, involving 45,000 workers from the International Longshoremen Association and causing significant disruption in shipping operation. The work stoppage began earlier on Tuesday due to the sales negotiations between the ILA and the United States Maritime Alliances, which represents shipping companies. The tentative deal includes a proposed 62% wage increase over the 6 years and extends the current master contract until January 15, 2025, allowing further negotiations on outstanding issues. Let's take a very first break, but remember you can now join us on our TikTok account as teleSUR English, where you'll be able to see news in different formats, news updates and more. Stay tuned for more news. Welcome back to From the South. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro held a meeting with the ambassador of Lebanon to the country, Elias Levos, to ratify his support in the face of the latest attacks orchestrated by the Israeli army. During the meeting, the Venezuelan president expressed his solidarity with the Lebanese people and condemned the extermination of the Israeli occupation against the population of Beirut and made a call for a permanent ceasefire. The Venezuelan head of state also repudiated the assassination of the Secretary General of the Lebanese resistance movement Hezbollah, Sayed Hassan Nasrallah. For his part, Venezuelan Minister of Foreign Affairs Ivan Gil announced that the government will carry out a large humanitarian brigade to support the Lebanese people regarding the aggressions carried out by the Tel Aviv regime.
We are going to organize a large brigade of humanitarian support. We are going to summon the Lebanese community in Venezuela, the Arab community in Venezuela, which is numerous, so that we can mobilize ourselves, not only in humanitarian support, but also in the material support that Venezuela is going to start organizing to take to Lebanon. And also in the actions to denounce this aggression. To be able to contain by diplomatic means, by means of a great world movement against aggression, the aggression that we have not experienced, the aggression that humanity has not experienced since the genocide that Adolf Hitler applied in Europe. We have not experienced a similar situation as the one applied today by the regime of Netanyahu, that uses warplanes to bomb civilian communities, to destroy buildings, to murder children, women. It is really unbelievable with the support and complacency of the United States that has done nothing, but has rather supported with weapons and technology.
The Venezuelan diplomat also reiterated that several countries of the world have condemned the systematic Israeli aggressions against the Lebanese people, which have not been since the German genocide of Adolf Hitler in Europe.
The only way to stop the Netanyahu's regime and the application of the state terrorism is with the world mobilization. Most of the population of the world, the governments of the world condemn this genocide. However, some powerful countries, among them the United States and the countries of the European Union, continue to support this terrorist regime, this Nazi regime that operates with impunity in this region, but we are sure that sooner than later this will be stopped, and it will be stopped with the denunciation, with the world condemnation that should be growing, and precisely Venezuela puts itself at the forefront of this world condemnation and is ready to convene and stimulate precisely that all the countries, the world organizations and the social movements should point towards this condemnation that should be against this regime of Netanyahu.
In Haiti, in the department of Artibonite, at least 20 people, including children, who were executed by violent criminal groups. The Grand Grif criminal group attacked the locality of Port-Saudé. There, they execute people in the streets and burn buildings and residences. The event also left 15 people wounded. Thousands of inhabitants who flew the area to take refuge in Saint Mark affirms that the death toll could exceed 20 and refer to a large number of children. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Justice and Public Security assured that they will investigate the issue, restore order, and punish those responsible. In El Salvador, a recent report by the United Nations Development Program revealed that 28% of households in the 32 poorest municipalities have problems obtaining food. Our correspondent Roberto Hugo Presa gave us more details.
These students from the Western Department of Sonsonate are receiving a diploma in agroecology, a subject that is not included in the curriculum, but is changing their mentality.
We are trying to get the students to learn the organic way and manner of producing their crops and doing agricultural work without the need for chemicals.
We learn to harvest our own food because the economic situation in the country at some point may fall. Right? And it is important that we learn to harvest our own food.
The knowledge acquired in the classroom is put into practice in this school garden, and then to create their own family garden.
We have already started to do it because they give us the plants and we work with them. Now we have eggplants, celery, and also cabbage that we have taken with us, and we are already growing them in our homes. We are making our own vegetable garden.
This garden, for example, is part of the project that is being promoted by the mothers of the family. They are women who are growing their own food in a healthy way and facing the economic crisis that is hitting them.
We guarantee our family's food, and the best of all is that it is healthier because it is not contaminated with chemicals. Everything is organic. They taught us how to make different products and how to take care of the plants, so it's as healthy as possible.
Both the agroecology courses in the home and school gardens are part of a program promoted by TeleSUR, a non-governmental organization that is committed to the development of the most vulnerable families under an ecological vision.
We are working in municipalities that have a development index of extreme poverty, the poorest of the poor, so we are giving them the opportunity to learn to grow their own food with the resources that the land itself provides. Here we do not buy chemical fertilizers, we do not buy pesticides, and we give them the start with seeds and plants so that they can also promote it.
According to TeleSUR's head, these activities are part of the project to strengthen the climate resilience of rural communities in municipalities in the western part of the country, but due to their success, it cannot be ruled out that they could be extended to other areas where vulnerable families live.
Roberto Hugo Presa, teleSUR, Sonsonate, El Salvador.
Let's take our last break, but before we invite you to visit our YouTube channel at teleSUR English, where you'll be able to watch on interviews, top stories, special broadcasts, and more. Hit the subscribe button and active the notification bell to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. One financial break, don't go away. Welcome back. In China, heavy rains from Typhoon Kraton has caused significant landslides in northern Taiwan, particularly in the city of Keelung. The intense downpours have resulted in blocked roads and damaged residential areas. One major landslide occurs in Dongxi Road, where soil and debris fell into the residential unit, prompting evacuation by local authorities. In addition to Keelung, other regions such as Taitung and Peitan have also reported landslides and floodings due to the typhoon impact. The storm has led the evacuation of nearly 10,000 people across Taiwan, with schools and workplaces closed for safety. As of now, 2 fatalities and numerous injuries has been recorded as a result of the storm's destructive forces. And now changing topics and going to sports. Argentina's Lionel Messi becomes a player with the most titles in the history of world soccer with 46 after winning the championship with Inter Miami against the Columbus Crew. Let's see.
Leo Messi continues to win titles, whether in Europe or the United States. And since his arrival at the Inter Miami club, he has already lifted a couple of trophies, the latest being the MLS Supporters' Shield, after defeating Columbus Crew 3-2 away and confirming himself as the best team of the regular season of the North American League. Messi was the great figure of the match when he scored twice. The first to open the scoring at 45 minutes of the first half, controlling a long pass from Jordi Alba, a connection that never fails, and defining in an excellent way. The Argentinian scored again in the second half with his trademark, a spectacular free kick impossible for the goalkeeper. The title is the 46th in the trophy cabinet of the Flea, who, since his arrival to the team coached by Gerardo Tata Martino, has turned it into a team that competes, besides giving him his first 2 trophies in the franchise's short history. Messi heads a list of players with an undisputed list of honors that includes Brazilian Dani Alves with 43, Andre Iniesta with 40, and Hossam Hassan with 39.
And now some culture. The 25th edition of the French Film Festival was inaugurated in Cuba. The festivals will be held until October the 13th and will present the films at the Chaplin Cinema in Havana. One of the participating productions is November, which will kick off the event, a crime thriller directed by Cedric Jimenez. Also allowed in Cannes, La Classe's winner of the Palme d'Or at the Cannes Festival will be screened. The festivals will also pay tribute to the actor Alain Delon, a leading French filmmaker who passed away last August. And also in Cuba, Convergences is the exhibition that photographer Robert Chile and the poet Alexis Diaz Pimienta proposed to the lovers of good art that until next October 16 visit the gallery El Reino de Este Mundo at the José Martín National Library in Havana.
Convergencias es un diálogo de fotos y de versos. In Cuba, Convergences is the exhibition that the photographer Roberto Chile and the poet Alexis Díaz Pimienta proposed to the lovers of good art that until next October 16th visit the gallery El Reino de este Mundo at the José Martí National Library in Havana.
Según sus creadores, esta muestra es un homenaje a los cubanos, a su resistencia y fe.
In
that dialogue between the image and the word, between the sign and the letter, is the axial axis of this exhibition.
El arte visual tiene esa cosa de la polisemia, ¿no?
Visual art has the polysemy, the possibilities of a 2-3 readings of the image. Art always has a critical component, and in this case, Chile examines the Cuban reality.
Y en este caso, Chile está examinando la realidad cubana.
Alexis has made some texts that are not free. They are texts in dependence of an image. It has a forced foot and it shines.
Pudiéramos decir un pie forzado. Y brilla.
Aquí convergen las miradas.
Here, the looks, the words, and the feelings converge. Experts agree that the photographer is a creator who problematizes his iconography, and that the recreator stands out for his mastery and originality.
I believe that the authenticity of the exhibition of Chile and Pimienta is in the questions that are asked, which are those that all Cubans ask themselves and the answers that are given. Curiously, in the day-to-day, one is always trying to make sense of the things that are being faced, and I think that is the sense that this exhibition has, which is to seek a meaning to everything that we Cubans do.
There are 38 photographs, accompanied by Cuban decimas, composed specially for the occasion. Conceptual images, documentaries, portraits, cityscapes, and digital art. With Convergences, Chile celebrates 70 years of life and 40 years of artistic and journalistic work.
There are photographs here that, if you look at them well, most of them are unpublished. There are brushstrokes of all my projects and brushstrokes of the last times in which I went out again camera in hand to portray, and in other cases conceptual photographs that I made when the pandemic. That is to say, it is a kind of combination of looks, concepts, ideas, of nostalgia, concerns, questions, about the moment we live and life in the world.
Roberto Chile
says that the works in this exhibition are alerts, concerns, obsessions, and doubts. He warns that photography and poetry will not solve the problems of Cuba, nor those of humanity, but they can make us focus on them.
This is an exhibition that, if you look at it in depth, metaphorically it is dedicated to the resistance of the Cuban people. It is dedicated to the people who are suffering the onslaught of the moment in which we live. Difficult moments, of shortages, difficulties, problems. But hope is never extinguished. It is there latent, however it is. We Cubans believe that the future will be ours and that Cuba will be better tomorrow.
The poet of this exhibition has sentenced it. There are two voices without stridency, in an honest exhibition of traditional Cuban songs known as decimas, and photos with insular convergences.
Fabiola López, teleSUR, La Habana.
With that story, we have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also join us on our socials. We're on Facebook, on X, and on Instagram as well. For telesur English, I'm from the South, I'm Ana Marrero. Thank you for watching.